We are back on Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio Newstalk 1180. Our guest by phone is Sally Pipes, the president of the Pacific Research Institute. Sally, before we talk about 2014, tell us a little bit about the Pacific Research Institute, and definitely give us your website.
Yes, well, first, our website is www.pacificresearch.org. My book, The Truth About Obamacare, is available on Amazon.com or some Barnes & Noble bookshop. It's available on Amazon Kindle, so just putting in a plug for The Truth About Obamacare. Pacific Research Institute was founded in 1979. It's a free market think tank that believes in personal responsibility, freedom, and private property rights. We work in 4 specific areas: healthcare reform, of course. We work in education reform, supporting charter schools, school vouchers, all the sort of changes that could help improve our education, K-12 education system. We also work in the environmental area. We're very, very concerned about AB 32 and its impact on job creation in the state of California. And we're about to launch a www.environmentaltrends.org, a website where people can find out interesting information on climate change and water quality and all of that. And last is our business and economics area, where we work on, we have a major project underway called the California Recovery Project, being spearheaded by Art Laffer, father of the Laffer curve. He's looking at how did California get into the mess that it's in today, and how do we get out? Why are we not competitive with states like Texas, Arizona, Nevada? I mean, even down in Southern California, Carl's Jr., the hamburger chain, they are moving to Texas. Mm-hmm. Investors Business Daily is moving they're doing their big expansion in Dallas, not in Los Angeles, where they've been headquartered. So a lot of companies are leaving the state. What does this mean for our tax, our tax burden? So we're very interested in, getting California back on track. We can't tax the California taxpayers anymore. They will leave the state, and we've got a $20 billion deficit. So those are the areas that we work in. We do op-eds, speeches, studies, small papers, really trying to educate the man on the street about what increased government means for their individual autonomy.
And you're located in the Bay Area. You have a fortress up there in San Francisco, right?
Yes, we have an office. Our head office is in San Francisco in the financial district. We have a small satellite office in Sacramento in the state capital. But, if the founder of PRI, who was a British chap who founded the Institute for Economic Affairs in London, where Margaret Thatcher got her economic training, if he had not met his future wife in San Francisco, it never would have been in the Bay Area. But the late, great Nobel laureate Milton Friedman, who was my mentor, he said it's always good to be in a place where, you've got a challenge ahead of you, and we certainly do.
Well, do you have a moat around the place since you're in San Francisco, Sally?
Well, we're in a tall office tower, so for people that don't like us to reach us, it would be pretty difficult to get through the security.
Sally, one of the things we may have to have you back to talk about is charter schools. We've had some real issues here in Bakersfield, but that's for another show. Right now, I want to just touch on a little bit on what's going to take place in 2014. They're going to set minimum benefit package standards. There's multiple benefit levels will be established. Catastrophic-only policies for 30 and younger will be eligible. Deductibles cannot exceed $2,000 as an example for an individual. They're going to limit FSAs and health savings accounts. So many rules and regulations to take away freedom of care, freedom of choice.
Well, you're absolutely right. 2014 will see the adding of 18 million people between 2014 and 2019 to the Medicaid rolls, the program for low-income people, the elimination of the discrimination based on a pre-existing condition, not just for children but for everyone, the complete removal of the annual limit or the lifetime cap, so that will be, eliminated. The state-based exchanges, of course, will be set up unless it is repealed and replaced in 2014. And you're absolutely right. Some states will have, some rules and regulations, but I think the frightening thing is that Kathleen Sebelius, Secretary of HHS, will have a lot of control over what the states can do in these state-based exchanges. And as I said, some companies have already dropped out of the market. I think there isn't a public option right now, but, just stay tuned, because if there is a government-run insurance plan competing, in these exchanges, I believe that private insurers will be crowded out of the market, and we'll all be left in a Medicare for all system. Health savings accounts have been extremely popular, particularly among younger people. We have about 12 million Americans who have HSAs. Well, there are two interesting things. One, starting this year, over-the-counter meds are not able to be deducted from your HSA. So what does that mean? A lot of people that, use Robitussin, say, for a cough, it's an over-the-counter med. So they're now going to their doctors, taking up doctors' time, writing prescriptions for things, over-the-counter meds, where previously they would just go to their local pharmacy, buy Robitussin, and then charge it off against their HSA. But that has changed this year. Also, flexible savings accounts have been very, very popular. Well, that deduction limit has been reduced from $5,000 this year down to $2,500. The president does not like health savings accounts. He doesn't like people, individuals and doctors being in charge of their health care. In every other aspect of our life in America, consumer choice is important, and it does drive down costs. Competition drives down costs. This legislation is going to, drive costs up, and I think crowd out the whole private health care market and leave us in Medicare for all, single-payer system ultimately. And I like to say, where will the best doctors in this country go? Where will we as patients go? Canadians come here and pay out of pocket. Where are we going to go? Will people set up Liberty ships off the coast of America, and the best doctors will be out there and they'll be able to get the best kind of care? But 45% of doctors in recent polls have said they are seriously consider getting out of the practice of medicine if this legislation is not repealed and replaced. They cannot practice the kind of medicine that they want to practice under all of these rules and regulations and controls on what they're paid.
Amazing. Our guest by phone is Sally Pipes, the president of the Pacific Research Institute, on Kern Radio Newstalk 1180.
Sally, at any type of meeting, the president or someone from the Democratic Party seems to bring people forward saying they were denied coverage or denied access to coverage. I can't find where anyone has been denied access to coverage because there's so many programs available currently. And the only reason people, I believe, are denied actual coverage is because it's either experimental or it's a fraud situation.
Right, exactly. And so, at the State of the Union, he brought out two people, a man in Portland, Oregon. Who said he couldn't afford, his health insurance anymore. I've written a lot about this, refuting this. Most people that, are denied coverage are people who've lied on their applications. There are so many programs available through, Medi-Cal. eHealth Insurance has a website that, gives all kinds of options to people that can get coverage. But I think because the president believes that, his plan is the best, and he's having such a hard time defending it. The elections last November, the Republicans took back the House. They gained 6 seats in the Senate, and more Senate seats are up in November 2012. And so he's having a hard time. So it's interesting that this week, 200 the Democrats are funding or organizing 200 events around the country in 35 states trying to defend Obamacare. But the Wall Street Journal showed after the November election, 84% of people said they voted Republican because they were so upset by Obamacare.
Well, in California, as you know, we have Healthy Families that's available. We also have AIM access for infants and mothers. We have put over, I think, in my office alone has put over 1,000 young girls into the AIM program, and I can't tell you how many kids we put into Healthy Families. There's lots of things available if people will only do a little research.
Right, and same in the pharmaceutical market. The pharmaceutical companies have a number of programs that will help people, get the meds that they need if they can't afford them.
Sally, this is Marty. I teach long-term care. I teach the 8-hour class that agents have to be able to market it. And it's funny, I've written articles before Obamacare saying that this is a problem that we need to look at. All Obamacare does is make the problem even worse because our generation, the baby boom generation, is starting to retire. And once we start getting into the Medi-Cal and the Medicare end of it, it's going to blow up the system before Obamacare. And
before you answer that, I want you to touch on, if you can, the Class Act that's in this bill as well.
Right. So under Obamacare, they're taking out $575 billion over 10 years from the program for our seniors. Our seniors, as Richard Foster, Chief Actuary at Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, has said, this is going to impact seniors' ability to get access to care and access to doctors. 1 in 3 new Medicare-eligible patients, and I'm a baby boomer myself, is now finding it difficult to get a doctor because doctors don't want to take Medicare and Medicaid or Medi-Cal in particular because the reimbursement rates for them are so low. That $575 billion over 10 years is moving from Medicare to support this addition of 18 million people onto the rolls of Medicaid. So seniors who bought into Obamacare are now realizing their care and their access to docs is going to be rationed.
Sally, I hate to cut you off because I think we're at the end of the program, the end of the time. Sally, thank you so much for being with us. We got to have you back another time. We will see you in 167 hours on Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio Newstalk 1180.